Hey guys, I'm Broken Stoic. Today we're going to talk about the Hero's Journey server. We're going to talk about all the little nuances, tips, and tricks that I can give to you guys when you're just starting out. This server is custom in that it allows you to create one character with three separate classes. It's pretty freaking sweet. 16 total classes, up to 560 different combinations. So if you want to play a Shadow Knight, cleric, berserker, or an enchanter, mage, bard, knock yourself out. Tons of fun. One of the problems with this is so many people get paralyzed just trying to break down what types of classes they want to play. What are we going to do? How are we going to build this? How do I know which build to make? Well, it's kind of up to you, really. Frankly, you got a couple of different options, right? You can go through, you can look at all these different races and classes and think about the various different racial abilities and bonuses that they have, you know. One thing that this server does do is it takes the ogre's ability from the frontal stun immunity and gives it to every single race. So you don't have to play a big ugly ogre if you don't want to. You can choose a min-max option which has like AC bonuses and regen, or you could choose something that has something more subtle like hiding, sneaking, forage. Entirely up to you. But I will say, when you create your first character, you're going to want to click on whichever class, race it is, and then you want to take a look, because this is going to determine what your first class is. Your second and third class you won't be able to choose until you get into the game. So the first race kind of dictates your first class. There's a lot of different options, and you can approach it from a couple of different ways. If you wanted to make like a thematic build, something like I'm going to be a halfling shaman berserker who is like you played World of Warcraft, you know, they have the old enhancement shamans, you know, you could build something like that. You could also look at the synergy. Think about how the attacks from a monk and being able to produce so many additional attacks may complement something like a rogue or a berserker who also generates a lot of attacks. And then you can throw proc weapons on them and think about generating all these extra attacks and throwing a bunch of additional attacks and procs out there. Or you could look at like doing a more min-maxy style, you know? Again, I'm clicked on the Ixar here, but you know, if you want to play a warrior or perhaps a Shadow Knight, something that once again, you know, these both benefit from procs, and those could synergize with a monk. They could synergize with a beast lord. The warrior and the beast lord both have an AA that allows them to proc with every swing. If you chose both of these classes, for instance, you would be able to piggyback those together and get a lot out of some proccing weapons. In addition to that, you could look at something like one of the meta builds is a build they called the Pet Tuck, which is essentially a necromancer, magician, and beast lord, which allows you to have as many pets as possible out on the field at one time, because for every class you can have one pet, either summoned or charmed. So you can really get a whole bunch out there, and then you can use like Army of the Dead, things like that. So you can see, you know, depending on how you wanna build it up, there's a lot of different options. In addition to that, if you really can't decide, once you get into the game, there's actually an NPC that allows you to randomize your classes. So you do still pick the first one. So if you want to be a troll shaman, you could create your character, load up into the game, talk to that NPC, and that NPC would randomize your second and your third classes. I've done this a couple of times. It can be quite exciting and it can be quite depressing as well, but it's entirely up to you. The most important thing is to remember, have fun, you know, whatever you think is going to be the most fun and entertaining. That's what I would do. I made the mistake of making a very min-maxy character for my first character. I leveled him to 50. I got 100 AAs, but it wasn't very fun. And so I ended up going back and making another character, and now I have 800 AA on that character. Speaking of AA, one of the other things to consider is even though the game is currently in Classic and Kunark drops on Friday, AAs are actually in the game. And it's not all like based on era AAs as well. They have a custom selection of different AAs that they've added to each class. I fully recommend that when you log in, you press the V key and you take a look at what that class has for AAs. It can help you really like making a decision about what type of character you want to play. For shits and giggles here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna throw together a, oh golly, you know, we'll do a frog lock, and let's see, we'll do a frog lock warrior, okay, and we'll name him Broken, you know, to represent me. So as soon as you log into the game, you're going to be inundated with like all these windows. It's kind of crazy. You can see throughout all these windows, there's quite a lot of information here. First of all, you have this quest journal, which this is a quest that you will want to progress through relatively quickly. As you can see, it gives you 10 platinum right out the gate, and you get a nice little item in addition to that. And there's actually a quest that's attached to this item. You can see I got this little book attached to it, to my mouse, and that actually goes to this quest. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in our inventory. We have a Gukton warrior letter, which is kind of funny because as you can see, there are no Gukton characters around. A majority of the races do have the guild masters and things around where they spawn, and you'll definitely want to hand that in for additional faction. It can make a difference when you're doing quests and epics and things like that later. But for all intents and purposes, we don't care right now, so we're going to go ahead and delete that. In addition to that, the server devs, Poria and Catapultum, have both compiled all these amazing little tooltips. These types of things give you a rundown of all the different little nuances in the server. Kind of short, but I think it's short and sweet. Gets right to the point pretty quickly. What I would say is if you look at some of these things, you know, it gives you the Discord, which hopefully you already have and you're already on there. It gives you a website. One of the things I will say is they are currently in the process of developing a wiki to help better understand some of these things. There's also some things to look over. For instance, the style and type of items that are in the game. So you'll notice this is a green item, which means it's a common. And then in addition to this, there is a blue tier and a gold tier. And the blue tier is enchanted and the gold tier is legendary. Gold, it's this color right here. Gold, here. Gold, orange, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing they actually tell you to do is, you can see here, you have a note in your pocket and should read it. Note, you read that. It basically tells you need to go to the bazaar and you need to meet with a fading memory. Pretty simple. You have an alternate advancement ability called Bazaar and Back. For those of you who play Live EverQuest, or if you played any of the recent TLPs or anything, you have a spell called Origin. Same concept, except a little bit cooler. So the Bazaar and Back, you're gonna create a hotkey. You're gonna put that on your bar. You're gonna smash this button, okay? When you smash this button, it's gonna bring you to the bazaar. Okay, so we've made it to the bazaar, we've loaded in, and now this is updated. It tells us to deliver one faded writ to a fading memory and an optional portion to gain additional classes by speaking to guild masters. One of the cool things about this server is all of the guild masters, as well as all of the classic spells, all of them, I do mean, even the quested spells, are all on these vendors out around the guild master. So you have a bard, you got all the bard songs, paladin, all the paladin spells, cleric, so on and so forth. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to go ahead, hit Alt Q, open this up so you guys can see this, but we're going to go ahead and select some classes. So the first one I want to go with is I'm going to be a warrior and a bard. So we're going to hail this guild master. It's going to give you a little text blurb here. Become a bard. We've selected that we want to be a bard. So right now we're a warrior and a bard. One of the other options would have been to run over here to this little NPC right here. And and we could have hailed her, and she would have given us the option to randomize those two classes. But that's not what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to be a warrior and a bard, and let's see. What else sounds really cool? How about, well, how about a ranger? We'll be a ranger. Warrior, bard, ranger. I'm a ranger. We'll commit. Bam. So you can see here that we've been given a whole bunch of additional advancement points. These advancement points can all be seen by pressing V. You can scroll down here. One of the important things that I recommend you do is you read these right out the gate, because you'll notice that I have a bunch of advancement points that they gave me for free. To include, for choosing the ranger, I got bow mastery and endless quiver. So you can already see the crazy opportunities that this is going to afford. And that's just for selecting the ranger class. Next, we're going to go over and talk to this fading memory. The fading memory is a part of this little quest. And when we give him the book, he's going to give us a bag and a whole little plethora of items that we can use for these classes that we've picked. Give him the book. Boom. Bag. Weapon. Shirt. Weapon. Bow. Arrow. Arrow. Shirt. And another weapon. And another shirt. And songs. I forgot about the songs. Jeez. Okay. So, you'll notice I was telling you earlier about the green, blue, and gold items. Well, here's a gold item. Dusty Tunic. You might notice that this thing has attack and hit points regen on it. Really good. These differ entirely based on the various different classes you pick. If you were to pick an int caster, you'd get a robe. I think actually if you collect a wisdom caster, it's also a robe, but it has like wisdom stats on it. So they also have like hit point regen and mana regen, mana preservation, things like that. So it's important to make sure you wait before you give this guy the book, so you get the proper items and whatever is going to work best for your build. In addition to that, you know, we've got the crummy little short sword, right? This thing is junk. Look at these swords that they gave us as a result of our quest or our class options. So again, legendary, pretty great stats, and nice little procs. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to slap those in. We're going to destroy that basic one. We don't even need that thing. Okay? And if you recall, in addition to getting the bow and having the arrows, we have endless quiver and archery mastery, which is one of those fun things that's going to allow us to shoot bows and kind of have a unique aspect even at level 1. So now we've got a little bow and we've got 2 weapons. That was weird. I don't know why that didn't attune to me before, but it didn't. And here we are. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, we're going to go ahead and stick these shirts and the things that we're not using in the bank. This is going to open up additional space. You got the 2 songs, so we're going to go ahead and mem that one. Something else that's important is you might notice there's a lot of people and it's really populated in here. One of the things that they've done to help with congestion is they added this really neat command called zone shard. So you type a hashtag and you type zone shard, and that's going to pop up this little option down here. You can see that there are 5 separate options, and like this one's really full. I'm in number 3 currently, and I want to go to number 5. So I'm going to click on number 5. Ah, way less cramped. All right, so you'll see there's people who are selling things, and one of the fun mechanics about this server is that for those of you who haven't used the bazaar, you can type /bazaar and it'll open up this window. You can actually open this window anywhere in the world. You don't have to actually be here. And one of the fun things is you can actually type in spider. So you can actually type in whatever you want to buy, and when you do that, the item's going to pop up. Now, we don't have any money right now, so we can't really buy anything, but I wanted to look this item up on purpose. One of the really cool things is you can start using these poisons, Spider Bite 1, on any class. And Spider Bite 1 is level 15. Each tier goes up another 5 levels. And these suckers hit like trucks. You can also take them and put them in your range slot so that when you're auto attacking or even bow attacking, what'll end up happening is these spider bites will proc on either ranged or melee attack. They're ridiculously strong, and I would recommend buying them during the leveling process and even beyond that. So if we were going to buy it, we would click this and, let's say we'd want to buy 1. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't seen any of these tokens in here, but you could ship them to you. I have never seen this. This might be an item you can obtain some way in the game, but for 1 copper, you can have it sent to your parcel vendor. And you can see I've kind of angled myself like this because there's a parcel vendor right here. So if I had money, I could buy this, have it sent directly to this guy, and then loot it, and we'd be ready to go. But no biggie. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our song up. I want to show you guys something with these songs. So on this server, bards have a very unique spell ability. Gone are the ways of having to type /harmony and then type in, 1, 2, 4, and 7, which is relevant to your spell gems, 1, 2, 4, and 7. So basically the way that works is you actually just click the buff. It'll pop up right here. And there's another tooltip where they explain exactly how this works. So you'll notice this little timer isn't moving. And that's because on this server, beneficial bard buffs, once you sing them, and as long as you keep them on this bar, they're always up. You never have to cast them again. It's pretty freaking cool. Let me correct myself. Never is a bad word. So, you may have to cast them again if you die, or if I click this buff off, it's gone. I'm done singing that. I will no longer sing it, so then I just click on this again. Boom, it's back up. Now, you may notice I have a lot of other fun little spells and songs and all kinds of other fun stuff in here. These are actually called world buffs. These little babies, people donate to the server and they get a currency that's called EOM, also known as Echo of Memory. So what you're able to do is for donating to the server, you receive 1 for $1. So 1 Echo of Memory for $1, so on and so forth. There is a little bit of a, if you donate $100 or something like that, there's an additional boost that they give you. So you wouldn't get 100 EOMs, you'd get like 115 or 125 EOMs, depending on whatever they had going at that particular moment. So what you do is you take these EOMs and then you go over here and they have these special little vendors, right? The donation merchant and the master of buffs. Well, the master of buffs, it just so happens, keeps these buffs up. And so when somebody donates to the server, they can give this guy some of your EOMs, and it'll put these buffs up for everyone on the entire server. Things like bonus experience, bonus health, bonus regen, bonus haste, bonus mana regen, bard speed. This one right here makes it so that when you kill things or you turn in quest items, you have a higher chance of getting enchanted or legendary options. It can actually upgrade. It's really cool. So we've gone over the EOMs. We've gone over what the world buffs are, how to get the songs going, how to start your initial mission. You can see that we have another option to speak to the fading memory. Really, the next big goal here is to get to level 5. So I'm in the bazaar, and I don't want to be in the bazaar anymore. I want to go get XP. This guy right here is a translocator NPC. So what he's going to do is we're going to hail him, and he's going to say, hey, what's up? I'm the keeper of the map, this map, and he can attune the map to a certain area, allowing you to teleport there and get experience. So one of the cool mechanics of this is that we can just go boop, and it's going to give us an option. It's going to say Antonica, Fadewar, Otis, Kunark, Lucklin, the Plains. Yes, you can go to Plane of Hate, Plane of Fear, Plane of Sky. And eventually, when Kunark comes out on Friday, there'll be way more options under Kunark. But right now, the only thing that's in there is Field of Bone. In addition to this, you can find little runes on the ground. And if you walk over those runes, it actually unlocks that location as a new place to teleport to. So druid rings throughout the world have these. Various different dungeons and things have them. So if we wanted to go to Antonica, he pops up a whole list of different places in Antonica. Well, for right now, we're going to go to Blackborough. Now, we've clicked. He says, hey, it's been attuned. We click the map. But let's not be so hasty. We have the melee attacks, but we also have a bow. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we have all this fun, special stuff set up for when we get in there. Because Blackborough, right out the gate, is going to be popping with monsters. So let's see. Every character starts with a whole plethora of stuff. So you get tracking, which is fun. Mend and kick and bash will all show up, but unless you're playing one of the classes that have those attached to it, then you'll put it on your bar and it'll just always fail or never actually use that skill. So it's important to be aware of like what options come along with your class. So because we're a warrior, we can kick. Because we're a ranger, we can kick. So we put that on our bar. We're going to go ahead and click on this. Oh, wait. Before I forget, we also want to create an auto fire button because we have a bow. So we're going to go in here. We're going to create a little button here. We're going to name it auto fire. And then we're going to do auto fire on. Boom. So now we have a little button here. And every time I press the 4 button, it's going to go ahead and it's going to turn auto fire on. We're going to click this, and away we go. Okay, so now we're here, and we're ready to roll. These are the little runes on the ground I was talking about. So if you see these, you just run over them, and it'll tell you, you know this place well. And that's how you know that you've triggered it. So you can see our first little target over here is a scrawny gnoll. We'll go ahead and make sure we're singing our song. And then we're going to fire some arrows at him. Boom. Headshot. Take a look. We ended up hitting him for a lot of damage. Oof. That could have been scary. Don't want to accidentally auto-attack that guy. So early on, you're going to want to make sure that you go ahead and you loot absolutely everything. You're going to need money. Money is super, super duper important. You'll notice this little guy, Echo of the Past. Uh-oh, being attacked again. We're going to go ahead and jack this guy up. And you'll notice that I'm shooting my bow in melee. I was just able to kick. These are also other little nuancy things that are in the game. You're able to shoot your bow in melee distance, and you're able to use attacks. So if I was like a monk or a berserker, I could shoot my bow and still use things like flurry and tiger strike, tail kick, flying kick, all that crazy stuff. You also notice that this tells you a little thing about value. This is actually a portion of multi-quest, which is typically known as a botting program or a cheater's program, really. You'll also notice when we press M, the whole map is just scattered with tons of things. Some things are yellow, some things are red, all different colors. These colors represent the con of the mob, meaning this thing cons red to me, this thing cons yellow to me, this little null pup here cons white, meaning it's level 1. These things are probably level 2 or level 3, and then so on and so forth. So that's just something to be mindful of. And you'll notice the farther away they get, it's just called a mob instead of being the actual name. That's tied to tracking. So if you have a higher tracking skill, so we're a ranger and we can get up to 250 tracking, that'll really expand the distance that we can see some of that stuff. Kind of cool. All right, back to this guy. So we've got the Echo of the Past. This little guy here, you'll find an Echo of the Past in just about every dungeon in the game. What you're able to do is go up and hail this guy and let the guy know that you'd either like to go to a respawning zone or a non-respawning zone. A non-respawning zone is typically what you want to do when you want to fight a raid NPC. So if you were going to Sol B or Solus XI, you would go there to kill Nagafin. He would only spawn in the non-respawning zone, as is true of any raid monster. But we don't need to do that. We're just level 1. We just need to get to level 5, so we want a zone that respawns. By clicking that, it opens a little DZ up, and it's just me and just mine, so I don't have to compete with anyone else for mobs or try to hand in a quest or try to get an item. I can just spawn this. I can let this guy know that I'm ready. When we hit level 5, they're going to give us 10 platinum for free. It's actually a part of the quest here. So it's important to keep that in mind. So I'm going to get level 5, and we'll be right back. Woo-wee! All right. Level 5. Really didn't take that long. If you read the quest, it's actually telling us to put this simple ring into our power source. You put the ring in your power source. You can put any item in your power source, and it begins to gain experience. And as it gains experience, it levels up. So as you can see here, upgrade your ring to enchanted. So what's going to happen is when I go over here and I kill this null, my ring is going to gain experience. You're going to get a little message right here. Simple ring of the hero. Absorbs energy, emitting a very faint shimmer. And it gained 1.6 experience. Now I'll tell you, that's not indicative of what you'll get for everything. The higher the con, the more the experience you'll get for the item. We're going to run over to this guy, okay? Really important guy. First of all, he sells the trader satchels so that you can sell in the bazaar. He sells deluxe toolboxes, which is what we're going to fill our inventory with. Now, if you remember earlier, we went ahead and we shut off that option. This option right here. In general, we clicked this on. See how that's lit up? What that's going to do is it's going to allow us to go in here. So if we click this, it opens like a regular backpack. If we didn't have this clicked, it's quite annoying, and it actually opens a trade skill window. So just be aware of that. Definitely recommend. And these are the best boxes to get. They do weigh 3.5, but they're 10 slots, and they size cap at giant. So you can basically fit anything in the game in these. So they're really good for a starter box. In addition to that, there's this right here, the large bank box. We'll buy 2 of those so we can go throw them in our bank. Very important. Do not leave the zone with the bank boxes on your inventory. These are 20 slot bags. However, they weigh 500 weight apiece. And so you really, if you were to like leave the zone right now with just one of these on you, you wouldn't be able to move around at all. So we take them out of our inventory, boom, and our weight is perfect. If you guys have been hanging out watching this video up till now, thanks a lot. I appreciate you, and I'm going to give you a little present in return. So what you're going to do is you're going to run your little booty hole over here to the arena area. In the arena area, you're going to find an NPC way over there. You see him? The Master of Ceremonies. Well, for those of us cool guys who work with the server and we stream and we promote the server, they gave us little titles. Okay? I can't claim the title because I've already claimed the title. But you can claim the title. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put the title right here on the screen. And what I recommend you do is you go over and you talk to this guy, and you'll have this title. And then you could rep me like a boss. Let everybody know who the cool kids are. Little tips and tricks to level a little faster to help you out a little more. One of those things, the bazaar is super important. And I showed you the spider bites potion earlier. For those of you who've forgotten, this is a nice little potion to get. The first one starts proccing at level 15. Right now, there's just these ones. These are crafted by a rogue, by the way. So if you wanted to create a rogue and just level your poison making a little bit, you could actually make your own just as easy. Quite a few of these people are trying to make quite a lot of money on them right now. Something else to pay attention to is there is Summon Sword of Runes right here, okay? Now this right here is a mage summoned sword. And when you summon it, you can actually give it to any level character, but they can't proc it until level 20. You can put this on pets, you can put this on yourself, and you can run around. You can see it's a 1427 and it procs Rune 2. Well, what does Rune 2 do, you ask? Take a look at this baby. This sucker procs and gives you a 97 to 175 level rune, thus protecting you from damage. Wielding 2 of these, you have a really good chance at being immune to all damage for a while. Especially at level 20, that's massive. So, something else to note, anything that's legendary, any legendary weapon that has a proc, has a proc mod, meaning that every time you swing it, it has an increased chance of proccing. Super, super important to know. Super, super useful. If you're playing a melee, definitely keep that in mind. Definitely recommend if you have pets too, buy some sets of these and throw them on there. I see that somebody's trying to really price gouge the daylights out of people by selling these for 75 plat. That seems like a lot now, but it really isn't that much money in the long run. But when you're low level, that's going to cripple you. I bet you if you just went into OOC and asked a mage to summon you some, they probably would. There's a lot of really nice, good people on the server. And honestly, I've seen way more people try to help each other out and be nice than I have seen trolls on this server. I'm not going to say that trolls don't exist, but they're few and far between. Another thing to keep an eye on, if you're not real mad or you don't mind twinking yourself, something you can do is like, let's say I'm a warrior, right? So I'm a warrior, bard, and ranger. Well, warrior probably has the highest AC items. So we're going to look at warrior. And I just so happen to know that the warrior armor is called Indoculate. Okay, apparently. There we go. Indiculate. Okay. There. Indy. So we can see all this stuff. We can order it by the amount of money it is. And you can see I can actually buy an enchanted set of these greaves, which you can see has increased stats, 40 AC on the pants. I could buy that for 5 platinum. I could afford this right now if I wanted to. 40 platinum. That's massive. In addition to that, it gives you a bunch of stats. Sometimes you'll notice that this window here bugs out like this. You can just open it again. Make sure you leave this one open when you open the second one. For whatever reason, it fixes it. Boom. There's really not that many bugs on this server, but that is one that you run into from time to time. And all you got to do is just re-click it, and it works just fine. So you can see there's quite a bit of item. In fact, if you had 100 plat, you could probably buy a full set of this stuff for pretty cheap. I mean, helm is 9, gloves are 10, arms are 10. I don't see breastplate. Well, there's boots for 49. Somebody's selling the breastplate for 100. You can definitely find it for cheaper. And honestly, if you reach out to me in game, there's a really good chance that my little pack rat self probably has like 6 of them or 7 of them just laying around. And I do mean just about every class's armor, even the classes I don't play. So these are just some tips and tricks and things to get you rolling. If you've hung around this far, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot. And please consider hitting that thumbs up button, tapping that subscribe, and we'll be dropping some more videos. After this one comes out, I definitely plan on working on sort of a meta video discussing the various different things and the various different options and themes and different things that are currently really overpowered, and a lot of people are playing them. Some things like Slay Undead and the pet build, the proc builds. There's caster builds, which are insanely strong. In fact, they took a nerf and they're still really strong. But I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. So until next time, take it easy.